Sorry, the report's a little late here this morning. We actually had a power outage in Springfield, not related to the massive storm damage that occurred in this town back on Tuesday. But anyway, here's our report for today, Severe Weather Outlooks. And we'll start by looking at what happened over the last 24 hours. And I'm pleased to report that we didn't have any tornadoes reported over the last 24 hours. So some good news there. Nice to be able to report that in springtime. We did have a couple of tracks, though, of some thunderstorm wind gusts as that squall line moved through Massachusetts. We had 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts just off to the west of Springfield, Massachusetts, and also some wind gusts down in north of Atlanta in the extreme northern part of Georgia. There was a tornado warning out here yesterday with that squall line, but no tornado reported. So we had a 69-mile-per-hour wind gust in upstate Georgia yesterday. And also a hail track that went north of Baltimore. So anything on here is 1 inch or greater, with the 1 inch being and 1.25 in green, and anything above 1.5 to 2 in yellow. So some pretty good hail in that part of the world. And also a smattering of hail reports with those thunderstorms yesterday in the southeast. Here's Atlanta right here. So we had some 1 inch hail reports just here, there, and everywhere. Just north of Pensacola, 1.5 inches on the hail. Let's take a look at the not the long range, but the high resolution simulated radar. This is a computer model, and what it shows here over the next 42 hours is what we've been hinting at, and that is everything is just in slow motion and churning almost in place. See how this low pressure area here just doesn't really go anywhere, kind of like my drawing here. It just kind of spins, and our squall line is kind of going around it. It's tapping instability and moisture from the Atlantic. And then we have another storm that's kind of spinning around out here that's causing a secondary little lobe of severe weather down here in New Mexico. And eventually that will head very slowly east as we unfold the outlooks for this week. Speaking of outlooks, I just wanted to remind you that there are 5 really that contains severe weather. This color right here is a thunderstorm forecast, but 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, those are all the levels. So we usually talk about a 1 through 5 risk. These have names: marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, and high. Some people have some issues with those names. I kind of do too, but it kind of tells you isolated, scattered, numerous, widespread, and expected and likely. Again, these are all just definitions that you should keep in mind. We usually see these two in the spring somewhere in the country. We start getting into enhanced and moderate, which we've had 2 or 3 of those this year, maybe more. Then you probably want to start paying a little bit more attention. So speaking of that, let's take a look at the severe weather outlook here for Sunday. And I just realized my risk graphic that I just showed you covered up one area. So maybe use your imagination there. Eastern and central New Mexico, there's a 2 out of 5 risk back there. And then not as prominent, but still wrapping around that low, we still have this thunderstorm area that starts in the Carolinas and backs into Ohio, and basically kind of cutting Florida in half north and south, with the eastern part of the state seeing a risk. The tornado threat is basically in the same areas, and it's a 2% risk. And we didn't talk about that, but I'll put that graphic up at some other time. Let's take a look at Monday. Again, this slow-moving weather system here brings the severe weather out to Texas, central Texas almost, especially western Texas. And once again, this low just kind of spinning around, causing a couple of convective lobes, and that slight risk for severe weather. Actually, that's the marginal risk, the green. I've just reviewed that, and you probably are saying, "Hey, Ted, wait a minute, you just showed me the colors." Yeah, okay, so this is the 2, and this is the 1 risk. That's on Monday. Now, going ahead and taking a look in detail at the higher risk, which includes Lubbock and Midland and areas just off to the east and southeast of there. That's the severe weather outlook for Monday. That's been in play for quite some time, so folks down there probably shouldn't be surprised that outlook is there. And then on Tuesday, again, slow lows, a stuck weather pattern. So this barely moves to the east, but it does move. So Austin and Houston is included in that slight risk on Tuesday. And the SPC has not pulled the trigger on anything beyond that, so we'll take a look at the SIPs probabilities. And so again, the slow crawl to the east. Now we're encompassing parts of Louisiana on Wednesday. You can look at this as maybe a potential for pulling the trigger on a SPC forecast. Thursday, Louisiana kind of shrinks a little bit. I think we have one for Friday too. It stays in the same place. And believe it or not, there's nothing for Saturday. Of course, now at this distance, it's always possible that something will sneak up, and when the SPC issues anything beyond day 3, so 4 through 8, it's a probability forecast. They're not really saying that severe weather is impossible, but they're making a probability of at least a 15% chance of some severe weather within 25 miles of you. So if the criteria for that is not there, they don't pull the trigger. This just looks at this particular product is a machine learning product, so. Actually, that's SIPs. It's actually labeled CSU. Sorry, I got my labels mixed up there. We'll take a look at the supercell composite here, and things are going to crank up. So this is basically the 3rd through the 10th. So the Gulf Coast, and I just basically revealed that to you. So those outlooks are kind of summed up here. But look what starts happening May 10th through the 17th. We start really ramping up along the dry line, so from Texas all the way up into Kansas, maybe more north than that, May 10th through the 17th. In particular, I have my eye on the 17th, 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there. And look what happens here at 17th through the 24th. We get severe weather possibilities all the way up to Minnesota, stretching down through the heart of Kansas, Oklahoma. This looks like a very typical springtime pattern. In fact, it's a little far to the north, considering the time of year. So just be advised that severe weather is actually pretty limited here over the next week and a half or so. But there's a lot of signals I've been seeing lately that say it's really going to ramp up again the second half of May. So you were told here, so be advised. Thanks for watching today's edition of Severe Thunderstorm Outlooks. This is published every day after the morning Storm Prediction Center update. Also, remember to check that site off on day 1 because they update it fairly frequently. If you like this video, please like it. Also, you can subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.